adventure.
His fast gun for hire heeds the calling wind.
This is High Noon and welcome. Are you prepared to draw? I hope so. And I don't mean any of that liver-lizzied, gun-slinging stuff. And I don't mean any of that arty stuff. I'm here to do that. You all will just draw together, become family, friends, help each other, support each other, all that stuff. This is a place to have a good old time, friends and frolic, and all that stuff. Okay? This is it.
Hey everyone, give me a sec, I need to get the chat up on my laptop. Okay, so we got that up. Let's see. Okay, so okay, first we need to pass the brightness, and we have 5 panels here, so let's go. Hey Jeff, how are you today? Oh, you know what? We need to get into the on air for anybody that wants to come in. I am doing good. Let's see. Where is Discord there? Where's Discord? I am in the on air on Discord for anybody that wants to come on. Okay, so we got Rick, and as of now, it's Christy, and no longer Nancy. Add ID. Ground. So grab. So and all these panels is basically the same. Rick, Christie, and Control C, Control V. Okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. Now this is a few days later from the last thing and panel. So she will finally have probably her a wardrobe. So I think this bottom hand is hers. And the top hand is Rick's. So what's you got going on this week? Jeff, anything new and interesting? Or is it just all old and boring? No, I'm probably gonna do something with her fingernail. Nothing going on. Going back to promote book promotion network this week. Giving away a PDF version of my book for signing up for the email list on my website. It'll run for 2 weeks. Are you're doing an Indiegogo or something like that? Is this for a comic or a novel? I think yours seem to be novelish. I haven't read any of it, but I did look a little bit at the link stuff that you put in, signed up for your Twitter and all that thing that you showed off, the different couple social media sites. This is for a novel, no IGG. Where are you Are you running any sort of? Well, it seemed like you were saying you're running. Yeah. Um, it seemed like you said there. Well, you're running a promotion book, going to do a book promotion next week. Okay, what's the book promotion entail? Obviously, it's not a campaign like IGG, Indiegogo. I can self-fund the book. Cool. How much is it going to cost for the novel? Overall, Oh, no! I didn't. I meant that. I meant to buy it for an individual copy, Jeff. My main goal is to drive traffic to my website and build an email list for later promotions. Yeah, I get that for sure. I might think of ebook at $2.99 paperback. Oh, that's not bad. How much? Any idea how much for shipping, say, to Canada? Or maybe I'll just get the E version. $3 isn't too bad. Well, even $8 isn't too bad. Even American prices. Or American dollars, I should say. Well, it's all through Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and so on. So they would be the ones to figure the shipping. Oh, okay. So it gets printed up somewhat semi-locally, and thus it's cheaper on printing for or shipping costs for people. I gotta figure out the thumbnails. Hers, I could, give her. She's done her nails. They could be any color. Actually, you know what? I should do for her thumbnail. Yeah, that may be the case with shipping. I really don't know. Yeah, the best bet is ebook shipping. If shipping is killing you. Well, um, I'm not sure what we can do for a show because there's not so much to show off. But once you get things started, if you want to come on and talk for a bit or whatever, we'll try and figure out something. Maybe with you coming on talking, giving a little bit of promotion towards it. Or see what we can show, for it. You know, a lot of words compared to pictures. Let's see. Yeah, I did a lot of research. The best way to distribute the ebook and print book, I'm going to I'm going with Draft to Digital and Amazon KDE for the ebook. Okay, then I'm using Ingram Spark for print. Okay. Let's see. What am I looking for here? Oh, Drive. I can't do anything right now. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I get that, but well, I more mean when you've got everything set up. Which page? Is this 17? Like I mean, when you've got everything set up and people can actually purchase the book. Maybe we'll do a special show just for that. You know, like a talking with. Gotta meet you. I have a cold. Okay, no problem. No problemo, mimo. Okay, so it's a grayish tone for the picture, not black. It's black and white. Thing. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see. Whatever pink there. Okay, so we're gonna have this real bottom one just white. You know what? We're gonna have, I think, the whole thing white. Okay, we're gonna take Christy's hand out here. Because it's going to interfere with. I'll go. There we go. Okay. Here we go. You know what? Let's bring a copy of the thing. That way we don't have to go back and forth so much. Okay, let's redo that. Try this. Hey Joshua, how are you? Okay, so now we got some sort of greenish here. How are you doing today, Joshua? How'd your weekend go? Ricket. I hope so. And how are you, E? Now I didn't color this. I'm using it as a reference for. Hey, Eagle. And anybody that wants to come on, 4G documents, feel free. You know how to do it. Okay, so now I think we need to go over here and you know, what we should have done? We should have taken this and let's transform it. We'll scale and rotate. Rotate it so it's in basically the right position. So let's just rotate it. Get it into basic position. There. And then there we go. Uh, don't like. So how is everybody's day going? How is everybody's weekend? Oh, and everybody out there might want to wish my mom a happy birthday. It is her birthday today. She turns the big 70. She has turned 70. What is this? The ID, John. I'm trying to make it look a little bit more legit for the coloring. And for those that don't know, King's Kid is my mother. So again, although I've said it a few times to her today, happy birthday. Rick is just Rick is making a license, and FT is just kidding. Okay. Hmm. So how are you today, John? Uh, oh, and I'm going to be adding some more money to my PayPal, so you'll be able to do up to page 22. Don't steal my licensed NFT idea, Rick. I'm going to make a fortune. You can keep that idea. I don't want any part of that idea, Eagle. I don't need to get in trouble. Hey, you're back. Also, happy birthday, King's Kid. Okay, sell the idea to the government. Oh, I see. All the luminaries of comics have arrived. Yes. Oh, some of them are saying a lot, and some of them aren't. comics. Isn't this a pulp channel? It could be a pulps channel. I don't know. Pulps are a form of comics, aren't they? An early form. Why doesn't John or someone come on? I don't know. Maybe they're doing stuff. I know Jeff's at work. Uh, Detective Comics 500 has a pulp story in it. It says, yeah, they did. There was what was it? Was it they did a whole annuals one year for DC Comics were all pulps, or supposed to be pulps. I have most of them, the annuals from that year. Does Snowdrift pay taxes? She will. Well, she's got a job, so she pays them through, her job. Uh, does Snowdrift eat at Burger King? Um, if there's Burger King in my universe, yes. I'm not sure whether there's Burger King in my world yet, so. uh, did she pay her taxes before she was frozen? And if not, is the government going after her following issues in no, well, she would have probably paid them up until she got was thought dead, and so probably in the year of, there's probably they can't go after her because it's been too many years. Plus, that would acknowledge that she was alive too. So I doubt they would. And hello, Sketch. How are you? Morning. How is your day going? One superhero ignores her taxes for almost a century, and now the government. Um, she may have, quote unquote, I wouldn't say she ignored. And how do you, what taxes would she have to pay on? Nothing. She didn't make anything. She was frozen. Burger King went out of business in the cross first because all the Christians boycotted them for donating money to Planned Parenthood. I don't know why. There may or may never been a Burger King in my universe. I tend to combine things. So I might combine Burger King with some other restaurant Or I might switch things around. I think there's King Burger. It might be King Burger. Maybe she has stocks. Right? Yeah, but hers, that would have went, I can't say about what would have happened with stocks or whatever. Well, probably the stocks would have been either just started or gone to some family member or whatever. I don't know how Canada taxes work. I barely know. Okay, so there is panel whatever. We still need to put maybe some background in there. I don't know what I'm going to do for background. I'm going to clean up some stuff. But right now, time to, hello? I think that was BlueStacks. King Burger, brilliant. They'll never be able to sue now. Oh, for stuff like that, I'm not sure what they can do. If you're mentioning them in, like, be like going to a McDonald's in a movie. Or mentioning them in literature. Do you actually have to pay? I don't think you have to pay them for mentioning them like that. Have her take pictures with Trudeau happy. Have her take pictures with Trudeau. Happy that she survived and after the perfect and AIDS, like you still have to pay your taxes from 1940. Then they arrested her. Well, she didn't go under till 1952, 51. And they give her a whole new set of IDs. She's a whole new person at that point. She goes from being Nancy Brown to Christy North. Aide comes up and says, you know. 1951's got Eagle thinking. Then again, like you said, could be 52. Maybe she goes missing on January 10th, 1952. Joshua, don't tell Rick, but Snowdrift might be a Soviet spy. She's definitely not Soviet spy. Thanks, kid. What, for when Snowdrift might go missing? What is wrong? You don't like your birthday being used for such thing? What's wrong with her disappearing on your birthday? Being put under a snow. By kid, she doesn't mean herself, she means me, since I'm her kid. And what's Eagle thinking about now? I'm thinking about all those Canadian actor heroes you have and how they're probably spies too. Yeah, but no. Hello. Or is that my... Hey, hello.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much. Just coloring up my snowdrift.
Very nice. I cannot see your screen.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
This is page 17, panel 2. I'm just getting the basic colors in for everything at the moment. And I gotta switch back to here so I can get her hair color. How have you been since yesterday?
Oh, pretty good. How about you?
I've been good. Uh, Caught up on some sleep. What are you working on?
Oh, it's an old project that I never finished, and I thought maybe I'll finish it. This artwork is pretty old and pretty bad, but I want to finish it and just have it done. And someone hired me almost 10 years ago to do this for them, and worked it on and off over the years, and it's time to get it done.
Oh wow, 10
I
years.
just I know I just want to start all over again, but I don't want to start all over again because I don't really want to do it. That's been my.
Okay, that
It's
seems like my guy's fast.
say it again.
I said that makes my guy seem fast. 10 years.
Yeah,
I'm
you got a
having a
guy
hard time getting 22 pages out of this one guy. It's just been over a year.
yeah. Oh, has it? Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
and he's on page
it,
13.
and this is that for the snowdrift or what?
No, for Canadian Shield number 2.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. So you decided to hire out the work this time?
Yeah, well, for the pencil and inking, I'm doing the coloring for both.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Same with this. This is John Dillard. He's doing all the pencils and inks for
It's pretty good.
Snowdrift. And hello, Math. How are you? Let's see what's Eagle said here. Sleeper agent wakes up in the future. Their homeland is gone, but now they've built a new Soviet state, the Soviet Union of Canada. Yeah, Eagle and all his wacky stories with my characters. Moose and Mounties rolling down the streets of the Soviet Union theme play. Oh, you just gotta level craziness.
I was going through a very cartoony period when I did this
Yeah, well,
originally.
oh, we can't. Oh, you do know we can't see what you're doing, right?
Oh, I do. I know that. I'm just telling you that.
Oh, okay. No
I'm just letting
problem.
you know that I'm sitting here looking at this past work and just going, so bad.
Mom, it's not math. It's math. Not on meth trucking. Not on math trucking. Rick doesn't share his screen with no one. My screen's being shared with everybody. Is what it should be, anyways. Yes. No, I'm not on math either. Now, what color shall we make her blouse? Her shirt.
Anything new? Any updates?
Not
The
really.
world is still here, obviously.
Yeah. For now.
Now,
Yeah, Eagle, there's nothing to show for Halal except for his icon.
you probably wouldn't like it anyway. It's pretty bad art. Like I'm just trying to update some of the least bad. I'm just make it look a little bit less bad. So it's probably better for everybody involved that you can't see it.
And hey, Mallet, how are you? What is this place? I don't know what this place is. This place is something else.
Boom, 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 boom.
Here, there we go. Oh, these didn't go in where they were supposed to.
I ever tell you that I made a new discovery that apparently Russians don't like it when you whistle?
Yeah, you were saying that.
Oh, I did tell you that. Okay, I wasn't sure. I was very shocked by it. It's a kind of a superstition that I was unaware of.
Okay, can anybody out there confirm this? And Matt says, we're fans of bad art.
Okay. You're welcome to take a look if we had a way, but I don't think we have a way. So you just have to sit out there and wonder how bad is it. Well, the bad thing is the stuff that I did like several years ago, and I'm
Well,
trying to kind of match the style along with my better art without making my better art look too good because then it might, I don't know.
well, are
What
you
happened?
doing it
Why is
in
it so
Clips?
consistent?
Are you doing it in like Clip Studio or whatever?
Yeah, I'm doing a clip
Well,
studio.
if you went down to the bottom of Discord here and do
Yeah.
the TV screen thing with the
Oh,
arrow
do the
in it,
screen?
yeah, you could share your screen.
Oh, okay. I can do that. There we go. See it?
Yeah, I gotta click watch stream. Doot, 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 doot. There we go.
You
And
know?
I can see it. Now I gotta make it so they can see it.
Oh, I'll just zoom out so they can get a good
Uh,
look at this terrible thing.
Okay.
Like some of it isn't so bad. Some of it's okay. A lot of it is just really. I went through this phase on the book where I
Okay.
decided to do. Everybody has gigantic arms and torsos and little matchstick legs
Yeah.
because I was really influenced by guys who did that kind of stuff. I was like, oh, I like that kind of stuff, and it looks great when you do it right, but I wasn't doing it right. And then you can look at the guy in the top panel on the right. His chin is all over the place. He's got a gigantic chin, and he's got a very small jaw.
He'd be like one of the three bears, not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. Is that three
Right.
bears?
That's right.
Eagle says it's because Russians can't whistle. That's the reason.
Or maybe the Russians can't whistle because they're superstitious about it. They don't try to whistle.
Meth says you guys skipped leg day.
He said what?
Your guys have
Oh, he
skipped
skipped.
leg day.
They totally skipped it. They said what?
And
Everybody knows you got to have nice arms.
and how are you, Mallet? How are you doing today? How was your weekend?
You know what I mean?
Oh no, Mallet in the chat.
Mallet. Okay, I didn't hear.
Eagle says no, they create the superstitions to hide their flaws. And Mallet says he's fine.
That's a good
He's just a
theory.
little busy. I guess that's good.
Bad head. Spending all this time drawing a head, and I should be working on body. I should really just do it from a different angle. Mm-hmm.
So how are things over there in Israel?
Oh, pretty good. We're actually in lockdown right now. My daughter's classmate, two of them, have COVID. And so we had to go get, my
Tested?
daughter had to get tested. She had to get tested. And so far, things are fine. But, on our end, the test they gave her, I forget which test it is, but it's not the reliable one, apparently. And so we're kind of more or less, I guess, locked down for about a week.
Oh, lovely.
So just fine. Just fine. I like hanging out with my kids and my wife. It's nice.
Yes, you like hanging out
What
with
about
your
you?
kids and your wife, but do Does your kid? Do your kids like hanging out with you?
Well, they're still at the age when, yes, they do like hanging out with their Abba. So kind of cool. So how long that's going to last, I don't know. My daughter's turning 12 at Passover, and my son just turned 10. So they're still pretty young.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what's been going on with everybody else in the chat?
Uh,
Anybody having anything nice going on for them in particular, or?
well, Malin, I know, he's been getting a woodworking business going up, like by
Oh, nice.
having stuff. He's got like not a lathe, but something that can cut patterns out of chunks of wood and engrave it and all that.
That's great. He's making a business out of that.
Yeah, he's been
That's awesome.
doing that for a couple of years, about a year and a half.
Okay.
Sketch says that isn't bad art. It's the coloring that needs to be tweaked. That art style is like animation. It relies heavily on rendering being done in the color, and shading is also done in color.
I like all this.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to read. Mallet said it's a CNC and laser thingy.
Okay.
And he said I did good this year, meaning last year, but spent most of it. Yeah, probably upgrading things and all that. Takes money to make money, right? You buy more machinery or whatever so you can make more money,
I
do a little bit
a
more.
little bit more money. Yep. No, that is. You need to buy a new computer and all sorts of stuff, but you'll have to wait.
Yeah.
I can make some of that more money so that I can spend it.
Yeah. He does like signs, cribbage boards, that sort of stuff. All sorts of stuff. I think he has an Etsy store for it.
My father-in-law has been very good with his hands. He uh, some carpentry, built houses and additions. Unfortunately, he's in his 70s now, so he's not quite able to do it as well as he used to. But he's still trying to do it. He's still doing it, but he shouldn't.
Um, Sketchbook's asking what setup are you on right now? I guess what program are you using?
Using Clip Studio. Uh, do a rough sketch and then try to refine it a little bit.
Uh, oh, he says no. What hardware? PC, laptop, tablet?
Oh, um, I don't know. It's pretty old. I got it when I first got to Israel. The thing's like 5 or 6 years, almost 7 years old.
Yeah. Is it
It
a
was
regular? It's a
it's a
regular.
custom. Yeah, it's a custom build. I didn't build. It's basically a gaming computer that I had built so I could do computer art on it. it's definitely getting to the point where I might be able to get a little bit more out of it. I just need to upgrade it, but you know, I don't know how much longer it can last after I do that. The next upgrade. It's been a great computer. It's just now it runs so slow. I've noticed it. They're noticing it now. This is what's going on with his face. He's just my weird, crazy eyebrows I used to do. Okay.
Now it's saying there's a punctuation in that sentence, Rick. Good for that punctuation. I say. If I want to ignore the punctuation, I will. The sketchbook says, a man that knows his tools. More artists need to do that.
Yeah. Can't help but realize I'm being mocked a little bit there. Uh,
Do you still run a hard drive or are you on an SSD? He asks. Uh-oh.
what happened?
Am I here?
Hello.
Oh, hey, Sketch.
What's up, brother?
Hey,
Hey, hello. How's it going? Sad to hear
I'm
you that
pretty good. How are you?
you're in lockdown, but you like spending time with your kids.
Yeah, it's great.
Good thing.
Great kids.
No, like I was saying, that's actually not bad. That's pretty spot on for that design of art. Like you have the design done well. In fact, um, this is a very good design for independent comics because it doesn't take a lot. Like most of the detail will come in the coloring. So
Yeah, which
yeah, there'll be
but
very little inks, if any, and usually most people who use this style don't even use that many inks. They just
right.
they just they do like a hard line and then they just go to color.
Yeah, that was one of the appealing things about it was I was really going after sort of an animation style for it.
Why it's used in animation so much because it's just basic shapes.
Easy.
Yeah,
Right.
and again, animation is it's very easily done in shapes. No, I was asking because you said it was kind of running slow. If you were still on a hard drive, like an old school
Yeah.
HDD, a spinning disc,
Yeah, I believe so.
yeah, I would just say just get yourself a SSD. Nothing fancy. Just get something like 128 gig or 256 gigabyte for about. I know that over here in the states we can get it for like 20, $30, and install Windows into that, and then uninstall Windows from your original hard drive, and you could use your hard drive just to store your files, and then you run all your programs off your SSD, and it's a whole lot faster.
More efficient. Yeah,
Yeah,
one of the problems we have
especially
over
for
here actually.
what we do, like digital art and stuff like that, because you
Yeah,
want to press a button, you want it to do it, you don't want it to lag behind,
right.
and then there's always adding RAM.
Yeah,
Dep-
that's going to be the next thing I do is adding the RAM.
mhm.
I talked to the computer guy over here, and he can cut me a deal. He says,
You guys,
but
I don't know what your trading agreements are in Israel, because I know we can still order from AliExpress, but usually people in like your area near the Mediterranean or even like friends that we know from Australia, I always recommend. I know that you may not want to buy Chinese, but AliExpress is like a lot of times it's stuff that was like sent back to Taiwan, rebuilt, and then sent to China. And
But
it's
there's a lot of
fairly
people
cheap.
over here who order. There's a lot of people over here who order from AliExpress.
Yeah, and it's fairly
Um,
cheap, like RAM and SSDs.
the problem is that we actually have a shortage on some of that stuff over here, especially like gaming cards.
Oh well, everybody
Um,
has the gaming card shortage because of the.
are
It's
they
Ethereum.
really?
Yeah, because Ethereum is still being mined on graphics cards. So as long
Oh,
as it's being mined on graphics cards, you got major companies in countries where the power usage isn't super high, like it's
yeah.
not super expensive, and that's what people don't realize. Like there's been server farms that have been found like in China and even Eastern Europe, and you're talking about entire rooms full of 3090 cards, and of course they're still using the RX cards, the older ones. But for something like graphic design,
Yeah.
there's still cards for that. That's what a lot of people don't understand. They're like, I want this card, I want that card. I'm like, you can get a Quadro series card that's a professional card. It's not gonna play any video games very well, but it's 8 gigabytes of GDDR5 RAM, and you can get it for like $200-300 American, and that'll make videos for you all day long. That'll help you produce digital images better all day long. You know,
Oh,
you'll be able to do a 4K video in a few hours. Render a
wow.
4K video in just a few hours with that. And I
Wow.
don't
That's pretty
I don't
awesome.
see why people, yeah. And you could still get things like the Ryzen 7 1700 or 1800 for less than $250. And that's an 8-core 16-thread CPU. So you can still get a good amount of work done with that. A lot of people don't look into used parts. They just want to like, oh, I'll order it from Dell, and especially in the States and in Canada, they're like, I'll order one from Dell and this and that. I'm like, they wind up spending like 2-3 grand on just the desktop without the monitor and the display,
Right.
uh, the pen display for drawing and stuff like that. Which
That's why
people,
I initially went with and had a custom build was because I was able to capitalize on some of that.
yeah, I built one, like I built like 4 computers. I built mine, my son's, and he does digital artwork as well. And it's like I told him, yeah, you want a one that you built yourself so that if something happens to it, you can repair it or you could tweak it. I told him, but most importantly is that you have easy access to the components to be able to upgrade it because if you've ever tried to upgrade, because I built my old HP to learn how to build computers. And yeah,
Yeah.
the the case I have in that one is a much easier. But I bought a newer Dell that I ended up giving as a gift to Captain Evil Stopper, Rick.
Yeah,
That's how he was able to use it. I gave him that, and I gave him a 13-inch pen display for his birthday.
cool.
And I told him, yeah, I don't want to
Mm.
fiddle with that computer anymore. I go, that's about the most I can get out of it, and I'm not gonna fiddle with that thing anymore. I told him it'll play older games, and you can do a lot with I told him with doing like digital work on it. I told him, but I'm not gonna fiddle with it. That I don't like those cases. They're annoying. There's too much software you can't get rid of. Like especially with Dell, like
Uh,
the newer Dells. um a lot of the people that I talk to that from their videos that I've learned how to put my computers together, they've tried boosting the power on the I series computer chips, and it just uses the minimum on the Dells. Like the Dell software will not let you get the full boost on it. I'm like, that's
mm,
like it'll let you boost for a few seconds, maybe even a few minutes if you're lucky, but it'll throttle it down so that it doesn't overheat. And I'm like, but it does. I mean, literally, if you know anything about chips, like the TDP, if it's 65 watts, it won't go past that on boost. Like 65 watts is all it's gonna put out unless you force more voltage through the
yeah.
board. But on On the Intels, you can't. It's not an AMD. Intels are usually locked with unless you get a K variant, then it's unlocked and you can overclock it. But again, I understand why gamers do that. But every time I've talked to people like that do digital artwork and stuff like that, they ask me about computers. I said, yeah, don't overclock it because that can kill the amount of service you're going to get out of your CPU.
Mhm.
You know, it comes with a boost on purpose for that. You have a Russian bot in your.
Yeah, somebody can get rid of it.
That's hilarious because it's like,
Let's see. Oh, and
I mean, look at this color work. This is terrible. I didn't. This is I was learning how to use color and inking in Clip Studio, so you can see all these.
hmm
I didn't know how to flat stuff at all.
yeah, I think when I first saw you draw, you were doing this style. You had done a Spider-Man in this style on Drawn and Quartered
Right.
Fan Edition. That was the
I came
very first time I
across
saw you.
I came across that drawing the other day, and I was like, "Oh, it's terrible."
Yeah,
Yeah,
the stuff
but
that I'm looking at right now, it looks a lot better than that Spider-Man.
yeah, it's just a couple of years to get a little bit better, you know. So, but anyway, I'm just trying to get this thing done so that I can sign off on it. Like part of me, one of the reasons I keep avoiding it is because I just want to redraw the whole thing. But it's like almost 90-page comic, you know, a graphic novel, and I don't want to redraw the whole thing. So
yeah,
like
probably
I need
better
to get it
just to
done.
recolor the whole thing.
Yeah, you could do that too.
Yeah, yeah, recoloring might be better. But I'd want to, like, just, I mean, look at this face screaming out, you know, please redraw me. And you look at the inking lines. See how the lines are kind of scratched in there and here. See, I didn't understand with flatting. I couldn't figure out why I was always getting these little edges here. You know, it's because you're not flatting correctly. And you know, I just want to fix all this stuff. But it's one of those things where you know, Jake Parker has a nice little video on. He says, what does it say? Done, not perfect. Like you have to at some point, you just have to, you know, let go of stuff at some point.
Well, yeah, especially if it's for
So
commercial use. Like as
yeah,
what is it? There's an old saying my friends that I used to say, if it's good enough for government work.
right.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't understand. Like I was talking to Jason Robinson about this, Jiminy Cricket, because he was saying that
Yeah, sure.
he's doing speed and skill training, and I'm like, but you have the skills. I go, your speed is probably being hindered by your OCD, and he starts laughing, and
Yeah,
I'm like, because you're a perfectionist, and you need to
right,
learn to stop yourself. I told him you could
right,
also change the style that in which you draw in.
right. And you know, one of the reasons that I switched to the simplified drawing style was because I lacked a lot of confidence in detailed work,
hmm
and I was terrible at color because I'm a little colorblind, and so I've had to figure out some tricks. But
Yeah.
yeah, that one of my problems has also been I tend to be a little OCD. I want to keep perfecting things and you know work on them until there's no point.
The way I lost the OCD stuff was in high school because I ruined projects that even my teachers and some of my peers told me, yeah, we saw you drawing and working that out, and it should be like the number one up here, but you went way beyond what you should have, and you actually ruined it.
Yeah.
They're like, you need to
Right.
figure out at what point you ruined it and stop.
Stop there.
Yeah,
Right.
and it took me a while, but I think I was drawing the girl from one of the girls from Gen 13 in.
Your child.
No, it was the other one, the one with the short purple hair.
I don't remember her name.
Yeah, I don't remember her name either, but I liked Gen 13 back then. I liked Fairchild. I think I had already drawn Fairchild.
When Scott Campbell first did it, I loved it. I thought it was great.
Oh yeah, I I'm not a huge fan of Jim Lee's writing. There are two books that I bought that I liked of his. It was Gen 13 and Divine Right. Those are the two that I actually owned all of Divine Right at one point.
I don't even know what Divine Right. I've never heard of it.
It was a short
It's weird.
series that he did about basically now thinking of it after having read the Bible is very blasphemous, by the way. It's horribly blasphemous and pagan because basically they find a way to get him the powers of creation. It's this nerd, and he winds up with the powers of creation. He resurrects this detective that was trying to look for him, who ended up getting killed. Which she became like a really cool character. I don't understand why she was never like brought into the DC universe the way they did Grifter, because she
Yeah.
was kind of a female version of him, but more like, I don't know if you remember the character Painkiller Jane.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, she was a lot like that. She was this short-haired blonde detective. She was really rough and tough, and she could fight and everything. But she ended up dying protecting Max Faraday, the main character. But when he resurrects her, she learns that she can't die, and as long as he's alive, she's tied to him. She won't die, and she starts like just going off. Like she'll let them like shoot her. Like she eats an entire magazine from this like Uzi in one of the scenes, if I remember correctly. In fact, that was the cover art where she's like got all these bullet holes, and she's just mad, like making this face, like I can't believe you ruined my best shirt. It was an okay series. It was at the beginning of chat rooms and stuff, because I remember the protagonist is talking to his love interest over a chat room, and they're watching a romance movie, like a girl flick, a chick flick, and
Yeah.
they're each watching it at their own homes. They're like, I think he's in somewhere in the Northeast, and she's somewhere in like California. But it's a pretty decent story, especially for Jim Lee. Jim Lee's not he's not a prolific writer. And Gen
Right.
13, I just I'm a huge fan of the team dynamics. X-Men was one of my
Yeah.
favorite comics growing up because of the fact that you get the different personalities. And me growing up, like amongst like I'm the second youngest of six siblings.
Uh-huh.
So like there's always that dynamic that people don't understand. They're like, "Oh, but your family." I'm like, "Yeah, but we each have our own personalities, and each of us like our own stuff, and we may seem similar a lot at times, but you know, the same thing with like friends I met at school and stuff like that. So I always like that kind of stuff. But that short hair girl is the one that I did it, and I did it really well. And I'm like, I had done something, like started doing details on her face and on her body, and I think it was her face. I ended up messing it up, like because I kept adding like a scratch here and a detail here and a
Right.
detail there,
Right.
and then I reminded myself.
Hello.
Hello? Sketch? We can hear you.
Hey,
Please.
Okay, we're hearing you now. Okay, you went out again. I'm not sure whether you're talking or not. Okay, well, Sketch is here, but we can't hear him for some reason. He's
Our
talking.
internet went out.
Oh, okay, now we hear you. Yeah.
I think my internet is acting up.
Tell it to
Okay.
stop. Stop it.
So you were
I can't
saying,
tell.
anyways, not that we remember where you were compared and all that, but
I think he's still out a little bit. I think he's still struggling with his internet.
Yeah, my internet was acting up.
is
Can
it
you guys hear
still?
me?
Yeah, at the
I can hear you
moment.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like I heard Rick say something about he couldn't hear me, and then I looked down at the corner of my computer, and I see the globe, but I'm like, hey, that globe's not supposed to be there. That means my internet's down. So that was weird.
We've been having problems with our internet over here too. Of course, we live kind of at the end of town, so I would assume that that's why. But for the weather, whenever it gets in kind of the rainy season, we have more problems.
Yeah, but that was the drawing that made me realize that. And
You
now
need to
it's
learn
like
how to. Yeah.
now it's sometimes it's like I under detail things, and I have to remind myself, oh, I think I might need to do a little bit more detail.
Yeah, sometimes
Now
it's
you're
hard to
sucking from another
realize.
direction.
Sometimes it's hard to realize when to stop putting details in or whatever.
Hmm. Yeah, it's like when drawing some of Rick's characters, I'll draw them, and I don't like the way they look when they come out, and it's because I don't have like a frame of reference, so I only have a design reference. So, like if it's supposed to be metallic and stuff like that, I don't know whether he would like certain parts to be like thick and thin, and so sometimes I'm like, the line weight, and then just like I do need to make it more detailed. And
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard knowing when to call the line. I think though that the important thing is just to get the thing done. That's where I'm at these days. Like I've walked away from a lot of drawings. Where I've gone, I know I could do that better, but really at the end of the day, could I do it better, or would I just, like you say, just keep messing with it until I've ruined it?
hmm
So, you know,
Eagle says he's back. We didn't realize you left. You never told us. We thought we were just listening, Eagle, not saying anything.
take a shelter from the storm.
Eagle's
And I
crying now.
wonder who'll stop the rain. All right, let's take a look.
Sometimes hard to tell when people leave or whether they're just not saying anything in the chat.
Being thoughtfully quiet. Yep,
Enjoying the
that
art,
is
enjoying whatever conversation's going on.
right.
oh my gosh, I'm looking at the daily news. I can't stand when millionaire crybaby sports stars are crying about not getting paid enough.
Yeah,
Oh, did you hear? What's his name died? Bob Saget.
Bob Saget, yeah, I woke up to that
yeah,
news. That was sad. I grew up on
yeah. I
Full
was.
House.
I never found him very funny.
His comedy is a lot different from Full House. I learned that
Oh, I
in the
know.
'90s
Yeah,
when I saw one of his stand-ups, and my brother hadn't warned me. He's like, "Oh, I didn't know you were gonna watch Bob Saget stand-up because I was still young. I was like a young teenager." And he's like, "Yeah, it's not anything like Full House. It's like really dirty. Like he's he's really sarcastic, but he's also very perverse." He's like,
yeah,
"Oh yeah, that's like it's kind of like walking in on your parents. That just kind of threw me for a curveball. Like I was never the same again. But yeah,
I,
it was
I,
disgusting.
I just never, no matter what, I don't think I ever found him that funny. And with his regular routines.
Mhm.
But I mean,
Yeah,
it's always
and
sad when someone passes on, and
yeah, and he was
I
only
know
65.
we lost Betty White in December, right at the end of December, on the 31st, and then now Bob Saget.
I would say Betty White's the more bigger loss, if you count
Well,
somebody as being a bigger
yeah, you got
loss.
to remember she helped a lot of shows get produced. Like
Yeah,
she did a lot of stuff behind the scenes. A lot of people don't know of. A lot of female comedians kind of owe her, for helping them out.
yeah.
They weren't
Eagles,
doing too
Eagle says, so if you know someone who likes him, introduce them to his stand-up. Got it.
well.
taking shelter from a storm.
Are you singing some Israeli songs?
No, that's is that Greatest Clearwater Revival?
Oh,
I
CCR.
think CR.
Yeah. Credence Clearwater Revival.
Yep. See, now I'm having one of those moments when I want to keep messing with this and erasing, and I gotta call it. I say, stop it, stop, Hillel, bad boy, leave it alone. Would you not want to listen?
yeah, a lot of my moments
Nope.
I have for stuff like that is when I'm on some show or whatever, like the Drawn and Quartered, and I get done before everybody else, and I'm just sitting there nervously. What should I do with this? Should I do it anymore? So it doesn't look like you're wasting time or whatever.
Right. Well, it's just like when you took tests, you were the first one to finish. You went, did I go too fast? Am I that smart, or is it that I went too fast and I'm going to get a bad grade? I usually went, I don't care, I'm done. I hated taking tests. I hated it, the passion, because they're usually multiple choice tests, and I hated multiple choice tests. I never really felt like they were, all that valuable at knowing whether I knew the material or not. I always felt like if I was a good guesser, which I was pretty good at guessing,
No, they know that.
because we had a 1 out of 4 chance of getting it right, then I would,
And usually you
would
can
be
figure
fine.
out one or two that you knew were absolutely wrong.
You know.
So then it's a guess out of one or two. It's a guess out of two instead of four.
Oh, what was this comic about? Hello.
It's kind of interesting. The story is that archaeologists found the rod of Moses in this cave, and it gets stolen, and you can unleash the 10 plagues of Egypt with it.
Mm.
It gets stolen, but it gets lost. So it was found in 1914 during the first World War. It was funded by Ottoman Turks, and then there was a series of betrayals, and eventually it becomes sort of lost to time. Although that's what everybody thinks, but actually, a rich man found it and he used it but it turned out that the more you use it, the more it drives you crazy from using it. And so this really bad guy is trying to get it and use it, and you have these heroes who go in to stop him. And I mean, that's kind of the gist of it. It's kind of an interesting story. It was, you know, I think they spent too much time on one of the characters, but you know, it's still interesting.
Sounds like it, for sure.
The reason that they had me doing this was because if I don't remember, you know that movie with Russell Crowe on Noah,
Yeah.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Well, but the thing was that what had happened is that the people who wanted to make the movie, they couldn't get anybody to buy into it, so they made it a comic book first, and the people got excited about the comic, and that's how they were able to convince producers to make the movie for them.
For
And
Noah or for
so
this
this
one?
studio has for Noah. So did I do that? Oh, let me see here. So the idea was they said, hey, that worked for them, maybe it'll work for us as well. They wanted to um, have a comic book based on the
I'm trying to
stories they want to
remember
sell.
because I know Moses does have a staff, and his staff is the one that
Yeah,
turns into the snake and eats the other two snakes.
yeah,
But
it's
Aaron's staff is used as well. I know Aaron's staff is the one that grew the almonds, but I know
right.
Aaron is the one that is told to do something with his staff. I can't remember. I'm reading Genesis right now.
So what happens is that Aaron is told to take Moses' staff and stretch out across the water. And the reason why for the rabbis is because since since he had his salvation through the waters by way of his little ark, um, you know, it wasn't appropriate to um, for him to smite the waters
Mhm.
and to curse the waters. You know, not to say that he considered them to be like living entities. It's just that his idea of learning about gratitude and things like that. So Aaron was commanded to be the one to actually strike those, and Aaron did a couple of the plagues as well.
Yes,
And
yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember
yeah,
watching that show Supernatural, and they did a similar thing about Moses' staff. And my friend was watching it with me, and he's like, "Oh, I wish they would." And I was like, "What?" He goes, "I wish they would try to get Moses or Aaron's staff." He goes, "You do know that it's not an actual; it's just a stick." He goes, "It's the presence of God that's upon it." He goes, "You do know what happens when pagans pick up something that's got the presence of the Lord on it." He goes, "Just
get
remember what happened."
hemorrhoids.
Yeah, I remember the ones that took the Ark of the Covenant. They brought it right back. They're like, "Oh no, no,
Yeah,
no, you take that. We don't want it."
yeah, they
It's
get
like,
hemorrhoids.
uh,
God cursed them with the holy hemorrhoids. They had to send back a gift with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
or
Eagle said,
the time that it was stored in that pagan like warehouse with the pagan idols, that they every time that they would show up in the morning, the idols were either fallen until they were just
Right.
broken.
Right. Exactly. Because they were bowing to presence of God. In a sense. Yeah.
Eagle says, Prince of Egypt animated movie greater than Noah movie. Yeah.
Prince
Well,
of Egypt is
Greater, greater as a stinker, or greater as like a better movie.
I
it's a
think
It had
better
a
movie.
better
better
soundtrack.
movie.
Well, it's
It had a
just a better
better
movie
soundtrack for sure.
altogether. Like
I hated that movie.
you hated
What,
Prince of Egypt. I
Noah?
actually loved it.
I did, yes.
The only
Um,
redeeming thing about it that I found out about it is when it was out, it got people to get online and start checking out their Bibles or maybe even the Torah or whatever. But obviously that movie I can say that I don't really think that movie had anything to do with scripture. There was the name, and that's about it.
Oh no, there was a strong feminist undertone to it.
What, to the
You
Prince of
know,
Egypt?
yeah, Zipporah went with Aaron was sort of made into a stereotypical Jew. Uh, you know, kind of like something kind of untrustworthy about him or something. But then they made Zipporah the person who went and faced Pharaoh with Moses, and which is not what happened at
You
all.
know,
We know from the
I
Torah that
didn't think about that. I was just happy that they made Zipporah dark. Like, you almost always
right,
have
sure,
these very light skinned European actresses that, like, don't get me wrong, they're not bad actresses. It's just that Zipporah was like, she was swarthy, man. She was a beautiful dark skinned woman.
of course. We've got over here, we've got Jews of all flavors and colors of the rainbow over here because the Jewish people are spread out throughout the world. But what do Jews look like? They look more like the Arabs. Um,
Because
Especially back then.
at the
they're
time,
actually from the same source. Both of you are
right?
from Abraham's seeds.
Right. And so, well, and also because of, living in the same region and area and everything like that as well.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah,
still have, people. But
yeah. That's what, when I run into like studies and I'll see videos on YouTube and they're like pretty good, and then I hear them say things like, "Yeah, but Judah was black." I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" I do face palms. I'm like, "Really? There's no historical evidence that tells you that any of the tribes of Israel were African." I'm like, I don't
right,
know where you're getting that. Well, I do know where you're getting that from, but you don't know where you're getting that from. I'm like,
right.
that's not a thing. That's
Uh,
not a
Matt,
thing.
Matt says, can you can just look at the DNA and you have to consider also the time period. Eagle says, also, I only remember Aaron being cautious.
Well, but the cautiousness was so much that, in the Torah, Aaron is represented as being the we can do it. He's like Tony Robbins. You can do it. And and he very much no question at all that God had sent them to do this thing and that they could accomplish it. He had absolute trust in God.
It's
But that's not how the movie represented him. They represented the opposite of what he actually was. Aaron was
I could
renowned
understand
for
that.
being a peacemaker.
I
did
didn't
it.
like that either because I hadn't read the Bible when I first watched the movie. I think I have
Yeah,
more nostalgia goggles when it comes to it because I watched it when I was
sure.
young. But once I read and understood the scriptures, especially when it comes to that happens to be my favorite story in scripture, is the life of Moses, right? And
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, they did it really 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 wrong. Like, Moses had like the utmost patience at times where his people were just like nipping at his heels sometimes, where he's literally asking God, like, I don't know what to do with these people that, like, you give them something and they just complain about it. And they never talked about any of that in any of the movies.
And how
And then when they tried to do it, they did it very like it was very timid and tame. And I'm like, no, don't. If you're gonna do it full bore. It was pretty good. Hold on.
hey John,
Hello, Mr. Piper. How are you?
good yourself?
oh, it's John
What's up, Dylan?
Dillon.
Oh, just working on stuff.
How are you, John?
I'm coloring.
Are you
Oh,
coloring
wonderful.
for what's his name's book? Dario?
Yes. I might have to start working on a new book starting next week for somebody named Star Sky Comics.
Cool.
Star Sky
But
Comic.
yeah, he
Uh,
did a book called like Aslan, something about Aslan.
well,
The Birth of Aslan, the Return of Aslan. I don't know, something.
Isn't
there's
Aslan that lion from
Narnia.
Chronicles of Narnia?
I'm
Don't you
sure it
have a
looks like a
character name?
bunch of looks like a bunch of demonic worshiping stuff, all these symbols in this book, but who cares?
Um, Don't you have a character named Aslan, Rick?
Yeah,
I think I drew that character somewhere.
yeah. Mine is
No, you're thinking of his character Leo, is what you're thinking of.
no,
No. He has a robot named Aslan. He's a robot character.
yeah. Transforms into a lion with wings. Part of my Transformers, but he's one of my more futuristic versions of them. Is Narnia public domain? I probably not.
No, because I think Disney has the copyright right now. They're the one that licensed it out last.
Are those,
Yes, Jeff. Those are the smooth jazz tones of the Dillernator.
And Meth was saying, didn't Moses have anger issues?
An anger issue, at least one time for sure.
I think he developed some anger issues over time.
No, but he was actually very patient with them because look, they've been slaves in Egypt for all this time.
Yeah.
Also been very used to the idols around them, which is what a lot of the Torah covers. Where God keeps telling them, remember, I'm the one that took you out of Egypt. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want gods made of gold and silver?
Well, it's because of Ernest Borgnine, of course.
Wow, I don't even know that guy's name. You're talking about the one from the movie with Charlton Heston, right?
Well, that wasn't Ernest Borgnine. That was the gangster guy. The guy who always played the gangsters in the movies.
Yeah.
We're gonna take over this bank. See, you're talking about that guy, right?
Yeah, he's the one that plays.
No, I'm talking about Ernest Borgnine.
What was Ernest Borgnine? Who? I don't remember.
You're talking about Peter Lorre.
Okay, but I don't remember Ernest Borgnine being in the Ten Commandments movie.
That says
Let me go and check this real quick. I'm almost positive he was.
Yeah, Ernest Borgnine is Santini from Airwolf.
I know who he is, but I don't think he was in the Ten Commandments.
Yeah, I don't remember him in the Ten Commandments either.
Matt says, just remember Moses striking the rock, and after all that, he didn't get in. There's a few things I think that led up to Moses not getting into the promised land.
Well, that was
like
the
what?
thing that he was told.
Well, there was striking the rock.
It was taking God's glory. It wasn't just the act. It's the fact that he knew that he needed to strike it once.
Yeah, and he did it twice.
He lost his patience with them and struck it again, and he took the glory instead of God. And God did not like that. God carried the glory.
And there was the fact that he did do it twice. He was only supposed to do it once. He was supposed to, I think, just tap it, not like strike it hard, too.
Edward G. Robinson is his name.
Edward G. Robinson. That's right. Yep.
He's the guy that played that.
You got it right. See,
what movie was he in? Or was he in
a lot of old movies? He was always playing gangsters.
Jeff Putt says, if Moses had Airwolf, they could have taken the promised land in a week. Yeah, well...
I don't remember the name, though. What's the name of the biblical character he plays?
Dathan.
He was
Dathan, there we go.
Dathan,
yeah. Well, the problem is for them taking the promised land wasn't that they couldn't have taken it easy with God's help. At first, it was the fact that they didn't think they could. They
it was a lack of faith. I mean, they literally are the generation that saw God cast the plagues on Egypt. They saw him destroy the gods of Egypt, but didn't have enough faith to think that they would be able to conquer the giants in the land.
Well, wasn't Moses just like exactly the same? Isn't that why Aaron was even with him?
Well, no, Moses couldn't.
Because Aaron was like a better speaker
very well. No, he couldn't speak their language very well. He was a good speaker. He was brought up as a prince, man. He just spoke Egyptian a lot better than he spoke the language of the Hebrews.
Actually,
That's a
he spoke Hebrew.
misconception that a lot of Christians get, that they say, "Oh, Moses stuttered and this and that." But if you look in the New Testament, when Stephen is talking to the Sanhedrin, he literally says Moses was raised as a prince and that he was strong in speech and stature. He couldn't speak to the Hebrews very well.
Well,
That's
no,
why
I mean,
Aaron was used.
No, I mean that's why Aaron was with him in front of Pharaoh. That's why Aaron was with him with Pharaoh.
right, the reason Aaron was in front of him with Pharaoh was because he had a speech impediment. He talks about how he was heavy of tongue in the Torah itself. So God's point was it doesn't matter if you have a speech impediment.
But when he's
That's
talking
why
to when he's talking to God about being heavy of tongue, he's talking about talking to the Hebrews. He's not talking about talking to Pharaoh.
he's talking about talking in general.
No,
The person
he said, "Why would they listen to me? I can't speak to them very well."
well, in that
Rick, look up your Bible. What does it say?
I got it. It's during the time that God's visiting them on the mountain.
Well, the thing is,
Edward
what
G.
is
Robinson sometimes played a lawyer. Wait, was he the lawyer? No, I'm thinking of the Devil and Daniel Webster. Never mind.
well, Halal, do you have anything with Exodus for the original Hebrew or whatever it is for around that area?
Let me grab a book. Hold on.
Eno says, when you look back at this, remember I started this with the Prince of Egypt movie. This is exactly why I shouldn't be on.
That's fine. I don't have a problem with it.
Oh, the Prince of Egypt. That was a great movie.
That's the thing that I don't like about a lot of the congregations in these churches. The second that you start to
You got a lot of hate in your heart, Sketchbook.
I don't have hate in my heart. I don't like it when they don't let you debate. You're supposed to be allowed to debate or to discuss scripture. People don't understand that. It's okay to be wrong about it. It's also okay to be right about it. But how are you going to know if you're right, when you discuss it with somebody, unless somebody that doesn't know it properly, tries to say, "Oh, this is what's true."
Or to know if you're wrong, too, unless you get into this.
I mean, we had a disagreement, and I was wrong. It was not Ernest Borgnine. It was Edward G. Robinson. But I think it doesn't matter because we can all agree that we're glad it wasn't Peter Lorre.
You should always have a talking rate in every church, or at least outside or next door, says Eagle. Matt says, I was always more of a Solomon guy. A solemn guy? Peter Lorre is a national treasure, says Eagle.
So
it's Peter Lorre, Rick.
So the text literally says that he is. Let me find it real quick. It's in verse 10.
I mean, most of these people that the Bible tells stories about, they're all the hateful asses.
Not either. Come on.
Your father's going to be Abraham. Gotta be
Kikavad pe uchvad lashon anochi. It's because I'm heavy of mouth and heavy of speech am I. So the kaved means like a heaviness. So, I mean, look, obviously he doesn't want to go because he had a bad experience with the Jewish people, right? He saw the two Hebrews.
Where they
He-
literally say who's gonna put you to judge over us.
Right, who put you as judge over us? It was two of his fellow Hebrews. According to the Midrash, they were actually the same two he saved from the Egyptian. And so he had some worry. Why would they listen to me? And also, it's not like I've been hanging around them all this time. I was in the palace, so he doesn't want to go. And so for sure, he is making some excuses here, but there is a legitimate issue with his speech. The question is does that really matter at the end of the day? You should just go.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that was God. That's ultimately what God was saying. You should just go.
What was that story about that jerk that was inside of that fish?
Jonah.
Jonah, yeah.
Yeah, wasn't that guy just a
Yeah.
hateful ass too?
No.
Well, you look. I'll tell you. His issue
Unmerciful.
was.
I will say that he was unmerciful. That's why he
Well,
did not want to go to Nineveh, because he knew that the Lord would forgive them. He literally tells
Right,
that to
but-
God. He tells them, "I knew you
Right,
were
what-
going to be forgiving and merciful."
What's his problem? Why is he worried about God being forgiving Nineveh? And his problem is because he's worried if God's going to forgive the non-Jews, right? And the Jews were at that point were sinning themselves. Then now suddenly you have a comparison there, and so not only do you have a comparison, but you've also got the Jewish people suffering at the hands of some of the Gentiles at the time. So his issue, no, like racist means that you think you're superior. He doesn't think he's superior.
So he was a
He's
racist
worried
too.
about
Then.
his people.
Oh
He's
no,
worried about the
I didn't say he was racist. He doesn't like the Ninevites. The Ninevites and the Hebrews were pretty much clashing. But I heard somebody do a study on this and say, if you actually look through history, the Ninevites are related to Lot. It's a reason God wanted them to be forgiven. That's why he wanted to send his prophet to tell them what they were doing wrong, so that they could repent. They're from one of the daughters of Lot.
The thing is God wants all of us to turn out okay. He wants all of us to succeed in life. And so, Jew or non-Jew, he wants everybody to have a chance at repentance. And that was his point. That was his point to Jonah. And so every Yom Kippur, every year during Yom Kippur, we read the book of Jonah, because this is a example to us of how we ought to be when it comes to something like repentance.
Yeah.
So, everybody got very quiet.
Well, again.
So if
quick to
Jonah
listen and slow to
didn't want to
speak.
go to Nineveh because he was afraid they'll kill him, then why is it when it was abundantly clear that they weren't going to kill him, did he still not decide to stay
He
in
didn't
town?
want to go. He did not want to go.
Because
Why not? Because he's full of hate in his heart.
Yeah, he was unmerciful. He did not want them to be forgiven. They were always at
What about
odds
that other
with each
guy?
other.
What about that other hateful
So-
guy, David?
David was not hateful at all. In fact,
Hateful in his
David
heart,
actually
hateful in his
spent
soul.
time with the pagans. He lived with the pagans at a time when he was running from Saul, wasn't he?
yeah, he lived with the Philistines. After killing
And David was a
their champion. Not right after, but when he was being pursued by Saul, King Saul.
I mean, John, what's your stand for being hateful? All this, they were surrounded by enemies on a constant basis. If you're surrounded
John
by
is a
enemies,
troll, so be careful. Tread lightly.
Oh, I know.
Don't be trolls.
I know John's a troll. I mean, I know he's having fun. I'm having fun back with him.
Trolls don't just live under bridges. They also tend to live in the deserts of California.
Man says, what does he mean, pagan? That's kind of a broad sweep term there.
Pagan is the belief in many gods, and that's what the the Hebrews called the ones that didn't seek the one true God. They were pagans.
John, you get real quiet all of a sudden.
You could hear the crickets.
I guess did you get bored?
Who,
He's
me?
he's taking a
Yeah.
drag of his cigarette.
Oh, he's
I heard him
smoking.
light
Okay,
it earlier.
that makes
I'm
sense.
drawing. I'm very busy. I'm working right now.
Oh, you're a busy guy. You just logged
You
the
know who
ball
else was a
in.
jerk? And for
Who
some
else?
reason, my godfather named me after him. This guy Elijah. That guy was a jerk too.
What did he do? Oh, was he a jerk?
Oh, he killed a bunch of people.
You talking about Elijah or Elisha?
I think he
The
might
one with
be.
a J. The first one.
I think he's thinking of the showdown between the prophets of Baal and
Oh, okay. Well, they were being jerks first. I think the. I guess you can. I guess we can equate it that way. That
Yeah, they were
The
being
whole
jerks
"you did
because
it first" argument.
they were
That's not very
sacrificing
funny.
children to
I'm not
Molech
Christian, so it's okay.
and Baal. So yes, they
I
were
don't. I
being
don't.
jerks
I don't
first.
believe it said that they were sacrificing children. I don't believe it said that.
Do you know the
You
how
believe
you
that?
worship Baal? You
Me?
don't.
No, I don't worship Baal.
I didn't
Sketchbook.
say you worshipped Baal. I said, do you know how they worshipped Baal? If you know how they worshipped
No,
him, then you would know.
nobody knows how they worship Baal.
Sure they do.
Yeah, it's in history.
The love of Baal is all encompassing.
Are you a baller? Is that what you're saying?
I'm a politician.
right now this is a Bali.
That's right. Oh man.
Oh, let's see what Matt is saying. The
I'm
era.
racking my brain trying to think of somebody that was like a story about somebody in the Bible who wasn't a hateful, awful person. There's none.
But the question is, what's your stand for? What counts as hateful versus self-defense? Like if we go to war against someone who's attacking us, are we being hateful or are we defending ourselves?
What? What does war have to do with hate and love?
Because you kill people in wars.
Well,
Uh,
that's not being hateful.
And well, then most of these people that you're talking about, they were
Sometimes
at war
killing
with.
people is a mercy.
Okay, so that's what happened.
oh, let's see. Matt says the era pagans were also Christians. The church had a habit of labeling it a lot.
No, ego.
Look at
Baal is not the cow idol stove. That's Molech. Baal is the storm god, and he looks kind of like the Pope's hat with a big beard, if I remember correctly.
seems modern trend to twist pagan into devil worshippers.
The cow that they would heat up the hands and lay the children on, that was Molech.
I thought
Right.
Baal had like a just like a regular body, but like a horns and stuff.
No, he looks just like a regular man, if I remember correctly. Or it's a horned owl
Well,
at
I'm
times.
only going by like religious iconography or paintings and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, that's what. Because again, when you study it, you can study it with history.
Jeff says, to be fair, when you look into the practices of worshippers of Baal and Molech, you kind of realize why they were put to the sword. I think if it was Hannibal's father that sacrificed one of the sons to Baal to ensure victory over Rome.
Yeah, because Baal was the Canaanite version. He actually had horns on his helmet, and his helmet was like round with a sharp point at the top. And then he had long hair with a long beard, pretty naked, and he's holding a like a torch in one hand and like a stalk of grass in the other one. He's the same god as the or lowercase g or idol as the Molech one, but different region, different name. In fact, you could literally like put all these idols together from like Egypt on up, all the way to the Greek and Roman, even the Viking deities.
And Baal was in Stargate, but he was not a cow. They never showed him with any of this stuff. He was just very arrogant. Gaul. Did he even have a Gaul in him? I forget. Baal. I don't think
Even
he had
Central
any.
South America, all over Asia, India, etc. Normally the same old story: good versus evil. Yeah, I'm not on meth. Yeah, basically you could overlap all the stories. It's always the same three deities: the sun god, the moon goddess or the queen of heaven, and their child. It's always those three deities, and you can find them in through all of pagan belief systems, even the Mesoamerican ones. I had a friend that did a study on this years ago. He was the one that was showing me because he used to be a like he used to be into history. He was going to be a historian before he changed his major.
They went to a planet which was light and dark that belonged to Baal. That was full of cows. Okay,
Ooh,
well,
good
just
one. Yep.
because it was
Baal equals Zeus equals Jupiter. It was the bishop Antipas that was executed by being roasted to death on a bronze bull at the temple of Zeus in Pergamum. Yeah, and that's in the book of Revelation. That's where he's getting after them that they killed one of his believers in the temple of Jupiter, and he calls it the seat of Satan. Jeff's read the Bible. I was actually doing a study on that, and if you read the study in Revelation, do you know that the practice of Christmas is not to be done by actual believers, because the practice of Christmas comes from the Nicolaitans. Nicholas, Saint Nick, the guy who Chris Kringle is based on, is actually named after Nicholas, the Nicolaitan, the originator of that belief system that God did not like. He literally says it twice. He says one of them are holding it to the belief and shouldn't, and then he says to the church in Ephesus that he's glad that they don't like it, like he doesn't like it. And it's all from that region in Turkey. To the planet which was light and dark and belonged to Baal that was full of cows.
yeah, I read
I
that.
haven't seen Stargate, yeah.
I
But yes,
think I
Stargate is
remember.
based on the, how does it say it in the Bible? The hosts, the heavenly hosts.
Yeah,
It,
the
it makes all pagan deities like uh, powerful aliens.
yeah.
Zeus and Jupiter were affiliated with oxen.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. I know Zeus was. Well, I mean, if Zeus was, Jupiter would be, because in the New Testament, in the Book of Acts, they're trying to sacrifice that bull to uh to Paul and help me out here, Rick. I can't remember his name.
oh,
Paul's
Paul,
companion,
oh, Paul.
where
Yeah.
they call Paul
Silas,
Hermes.
Paul and Silas.
No, it's the other one.
Uh,
The one that he went with first. I think Silas was the second time.
um,
The,
but no, not Barnabas. What about Cornelius? No, not Cornelius. I forget offhand.
I think it's with the Barnabas. Barnabas was his name.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's
Paul
it.
and Barnabas. They said they called Barnabas Zeus and Paul Hermes because Paul was the one that was preaching. And if you know anything about Greek pantheon, Hermes was the one that would always speak. Hermes was also where we get the whole transgender belief from, too, because Hermes was both Hermes and Aphrodite. So it's where we get the term hermaphrodite. ancient
And
philosophy, but took a lot of religious study classes for basic humanities degree. That's amazing that they actually let you take religious study for basic humanities. Like when I took a humanities course at the community college when I was there, they hated anything that had to do with scripture. Like when I tried to, we were doing a debate discussing the times. You know why they call it now they call it BCE, and before it was called before Christ, which is BC. Because I told them, why would you keep it in Latin AD, which is Anno Domini, in the year of our Lord? I go, but you would change BCE to before Common Era, and they're like, yeah, but it was before Common Era. I was like, well, what makes it common now? Religion makes it common. The biggest religion, which was Catholicism, Christianity. Not the oldest religion, but the biggest one at the point. That's why they split the counting. That's why I always like that one joke in year one where he says that. He goes, "What are we counting down to?" Because it's all backwards. Most came out of
So,
Babylon.
I mean, I also use the BCE and CE terminology just because otherwise the AD and what is it? AD and BC
BC.
is basically like a profession of faith of Christianity. So since I'm
Well,
not a
no, it really isn't,
Christian,
because it's
since I'm
it's
not a Christian, I wouldn't say that.
well, yeah, but
Yeah.
that doesn't say that you believe as Christ. That Yeshua is your Messiah. It just says that he existed after this point, and his religion is what splits time. His belief. You know what I mean?
Religion is what splits time. What does that mean?
It's basically an event that was so like it impacted civilization so much that it literally splits the time.
Well,
Well, it
I mean, I
doesn't
think it's
split
just
the
because
time, but
the, the
Yeah,
Catholic
because
Church was in charge. That's why it was
well,
named
yeah, but
that, not
that's why I'm
because
not denying that either. But that's what I'm saying. That's
right.
that's why the times are changing. That's why I don't see why you could use it. You're not professing anything about faith. It's just historic. It doesn't have anything then you shouldn't use AD at all either because it's in the year of our Lord.
I don't use AD. That was what I was
Oh,
saying.
okay. I thought you used
Yeah.
just BCE and AD
No, I said
because
I
that's
said.
that's why
Uh,
that was my argument to them in humanities.
oh,
I'm
I
like,
see.
but you use AD, and they're like, what does that mean? I'm like, well, because you're still using the religious connotation of one part of it, but not the other, because you have a problem with the term Christ.
Right.
And they're looking at me dumbfounded. I could hear the crickets. I'm like, it's just a simple, argument. Why are you
Yeah.
crying, Eagle 43? An interesting note: the very same temple of Zeus was excavated by the Germans and relocated to Berlin sometime around 1938 to 1928 and 1939. The World War II broke out. I did not know that.
well, on those notes,
Asherah was Baal's consort. Yes, Asherah's name is Istra, and also known as Tammuz's mother. What's her name? Semiramis in Sumer, Nimrod's wife.
oh, I think why Eagle's crying is because you haven't watched Stargate.
I started watching Atlantis way back in the day, but I never really like. I liked the movie back when I was younger, but I never really got into the show,
Uh,
the original show.
well, maybe sometime I've got the first few seasons. Maybe we could do a watch party of episodes or watch it all the way through on Discord.
I'm still taking Star Trek by storm, so I would have to make time for it. Star
Yeah,
Trek is like got a lot of stuff to get through.
yeah.
I'm on Deep Space Nine. I just finished I just finished the second season of Deep Space Nine,
Uh,
and I'm gonna go to Voyager after this, and I'm gonna contemplate whether I want to watch Enterprise or not.
Enterprise is good enough to watch. I will agree. I will say.
Okay, maybe
Uh,
I'll check it out.
Discovery, although is not
Boring.
good. Discovery should not be discovered.
I thought it was boring. I thought Enterprise was pretty boring. I couldn't get
Your
into it.
mom, I said bye because she put bye in the.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I were you, I would stop after Deep Space Nine.
Voyager's not that good.
No.
I didn't enjoy it.
I enjoyed Voyager.
I, you know, here's my problem with Voyager, and this is my
First
problem with
Mexican in Star
Enterprise.
Trek.
That was my problem. No, my problem is with both Voyager and Enterprise is that Kirk's adventures in Star Trek represented the Wild West and being in the unknown and exploring a place people had never been before. And so the same theme is true with Voyager, and the same thing is true with Enterprise, or even more so with Enterprise and Voyager. And yet they ran things like Jean-Luc Picard in the Next Generation, where they're trying to settle these treaties and make friends and yada yada yada. I mean, you want to build allies, but I think it's a little bit ridiculous to think that you're going to do business as usual. I think they missed out on an opportunity to make things more exciting and more interesting.
Yeah. The original Star Trek is more Wild West. Next
Right,
Generation is more Lois and Clark.
Yeah.
right.
The the only thing I don't that seems funny is how long it's supposed to take them to get back from
It just seems this though. Check this out. That the second that you have a European at the helm, it gets very wordy and over dramatized and political. But the second an American's at the helm in Deep Space Nine, it goes back to being a little bit more action oriented. Because like I had Picard as very high and Riker pretty much behind him, but Cisco has already like made me a fan like really fast. Not to mention the
I love
interaction between him
Cisco.
and his son is like
Yeah.
hilarious because like my son and I watch it and he's like, "Oh my gosh, did you watch this when you were little?" I go, "No." He goes, "Because you sound exactly like that." Like where he's telling his son that he has to learn Klingon opera for school, and he's like, "When was the last time you ever used Klingon opera in your daily work study?" And he's like, "I've never had to use it." And he goes, "Well, then why? Just because you learned it, does it mean I have to?" He goes, "Yes, exactly." Because I was forced to listen to it. So do you. And my son was like, "That sounds exactly like you. You've done that to me. Like I hate learning algebra." I was like this and that. It's like, yeah, I didn't like it either, but you have to get through it.
Algebra you need. You don't need everything. Algebra is very useful, not calculus and
Problem
other
solving
things.
for problem solving. I didn't notice it either.
Problem solving, yeah,
It actually shapes your mind about problem solving, even if you don't use the
sure,
actual equation.
right, right.
but yeah, I would definitely I would still recommend up to Enterprise
Yeah,
after
Jeff Potts, that's one of the things that got me to start believing, like really believing hardcore into the one true God because of the fact that it fits with history and it tied things in history together. Well, he tied things in history together for me that things I didn't even know, like how the Mesoamericans got to be here and all that, and also because people are like, "How do you get that out of the Bible?" I'm like, "Well, if we all come from this thing, how come we all have the same beliefs and all the same stories about the flood and all that, even on this side of the world?" But then if you actually do historic studies, you'll find that the reason the Mesoamericans weren't as advanced as the Europeans that landed, like the Spanish that ended up, taking over the islands and stuff, is because they actually went through the land bridge in Alaska and came all the way down, and some just stayed in certain areas as they saw fit of the land. So if you look through history chronologically, when all these civilizations were discovered, the further down towards South America, the less advanced they were. Like they were mathematicians and stuff like that, of course, because all that stuff they had started learning that stuff from back in the days of Nimrod
probably
and all that and Babel. But yeah, it's just amazing when you actually look at history. Especially that's the one that got me because I remember reading stuff about Sumer, about Enki, and about their gods and everything. And it's funny because y'all brought up the movie of Noah the other day, and my friend and Captain Evil Stopper and I were just roasting that movie when we watched it. Because if you read the book of Enoch, they use the names of the angels for those golems of the Watcher angels from the book of Enoch. and they used the Hebraic names, and we were just laughing because they used Shamyaza, which is supposed to be Satan's or the devil's actual Hebraic name. And when the animals come rolling by the golems, the snake passes right by that golem. And I told Isa, it's kind of funny, isn't he the one that got that thing cursed? It's only crawling on its belly because of his fault. And my friend just starts laughing. I was like, yeah, that's when you know scripture, right? When you're making fun of things. They
Oh,
are finding that the monotheism dates back well before the Hebrews, and they should, because Genesis is before the Hebrews, which also explains the section where Abraham meets another priest of God, Melchizedek.
It's Shem.
Yeah, in Hebrew, right? You guys call him Shem. His
Yeah, it's
wife's.
Shem, the son of Noah.
uh, well, anyways, on those notes, I'm gonna end. Been going an extra 45 minutes. Hello, anything you would like to promote?
I'm working on my website, newherocomics.com. Go visit it, but realize that I'm working on it. But
And
it's I got
that's
some kind of cool stuff going on.
newheroes.com.
Newherocomics.com.
Okay. John, anything you would like to promote?
No.
Sketch, anything?
Yes, my Twitter, my Sketchbook 340, or at Hexram, HEXXRAM. I'm gonna share my videos that I will post on Rumble, and I want to start live streaming within the next week on YouTube.
Cool, cool, cool. Well, thanks everybody for coming on. Thanks everybody for coming out in the chat. It's great having everybody here participating, talking, and all that. Um, yeah, and one thing I'm going to promote on Halal's channel, TGT. Me and him are going through Genesis at the moment every Sunday, live streaming. So if anybody wants to come to that and check it out, it should be good. I'm actually going to be putting up the video for it here on my here in the next couple days as I recorded it. But if you want to participate live and listen live, Sundays, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we'll catch everybody later. Bye for now. God bless. Love you all. Have a great and wonderful day.
God bless. Goodbye.